Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Colleen. I have my bulletproof coffee this morning. It's all frothy and lovely. Hope you have your coffee, tea, or smoothie. If this is your first time joining us, my name is Colleen Hammond. I'm a former on-camera meteorologist for the Weather Channel, and I have taken the 30 years of experience, and for the past 30 years, I have been helping women as an image consultant and a stylist, from stay-at-home moms to top shelf politicians. So thanks for joining us this morning. I'm really going to try to keep it brief. Also, first and foremost, I want to ask for some prayers. My mom had a fall yesterday. She just turned 83. And I haven't heard any news overnight. I have no idea what's going on. The last I knew, she was in the emergency room and they were doing a CT scan, and that was about 8 o'clock last night. So prayers for my mom. If you can spare them, I would really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this over here, make sure I can see. So thanks for joining us. Good morning, Rachel. Hey, Valerie, Christina, Roxanne, my sister Sherry's here. So happy you could join us. You know, it's kind of funny that because y'all have been so nice about likes, comments, and shares, we're getting the attention of Facebook itself. So I've gotten some emails and some very encouraging things that they like to see some positive activity on Facebook Live, and they like to see lots of good things happening and the positive message, and they want to see more of it. So keep those likes, comments, and shares coming because I think it's good to have some good Christian input on Facebook. Don't you think? So make sure you share out the message. And they do one thing they do want. They do want it shorter. So the 37 minutes yesterday was a wee bit long. So I do have a haircut coming up today. I got to get rid of some of this and want to get some things going. So good morning, Rachel. Thanks for the prayers, Victoria, Rachel. Hey, Francis and Virginia. Hey, Virginia, you made it live this morning. Thanks for coming. So what I wanted to talk about, and some of the emails that I got yesterday, were about gratitude. And people want to be more grateful, but a lot of the emails that I got and private messages I got were, how do I be more grateful? So thanks for sharing, Barbara Ann. How do I be more grateful? So I thought, that's a great topic, because when, there's the morning cough, when I first started practicing gratitude, it's something you really have to learn. So I came up with 5 tips about gratitude that I have learned from other people that tend to be very positive and grateful people. So, and one of the things that I put in the comments was Venerable Solanus Casey, who said, "Thank God ahead of time." Thanks for joining. Victoria says she loves the talks. Looks forward to them any morning. Yay! And Anne's even joining us from San Francisco. She's up really early. Got to get up early to beat the children, don't you? The step number 1, or tip number 1, for learning to be more grateful is to remember the bad times. And it seems counterintuitive to remember the bad times in order to be more grateful. But think about it. When you reflect back, I truly believe, like we have said in previous chats, that God is outside of time. And hey, thanks for joining us, Sandra. You just chanced upon us. We're live. Good to see you. How are you keeping? Hope you're better. You're in my prayers. Thank you. Yes. In Dubai, you're 5 p.m. Wow. Dubai is such a beautiful city. I follow a couple of people on Periscope who do live scopes from Dubai. It's a stunning city. It just makes me want to visit even more. I know a couple of people that have been there. So thanks for joining us from Dubai. So if you reflect back on these bad things that have happened, again, it's like God is outside time looking down, and he can see the bend in the river. He can see around the corner of time. He knows what's going to happen. So he can cause something to happen, like a flat tire on your way to an interview, but if you had gone over the hill or around the corner, you would have gotten into an accident. So look back on the bad things that have happened and see what good has come from them. But a lot of times you can't tell what good has come from them yet. We might not know until we're at the pearly gates exactly what has happened or why God allowed those things to happen to us. But by reflecting back on some bad things that happened, what did you learn from that? What can we see good that came out of that? Where have we grown because of that? Because everything should be a life lesson for us. Everything happens for a reason. Absolutely, Monica. And good morning, Sarah. Thanks for joining us. And so reflecting back, tip number one, reflecting back. So the grateful people, the positive people, the successful people I know use those things in their life as life lessons. What can I learn from this? What led to this incident? What won't I do again? And how has God brought me through it? Never be ashamed of something that God got you through. Never be ashamed of something that happened in your life that you turned and saw God's actions for good. Use those as opportunities to say, thank you, God, especially if you're not quite sure why. Because as I've said before, a lot of times there is no answer to the question why. There is no answer now, but at the pearly gates, we will see. So tip number one is to look back on the bad, thank God for it, and see how far you've come. Compare that, maybe the worst point in your life, to where you are now. Or maybe now's the worst point in your life. Know that God will get you through this. And it will be the next step to something wonderful, because God has allowed this moment for a reason. Be thankful for it. Just thank you, God. I don't know why. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of God. Number two, pay attention throughout the day. It becomes a habit. Being grateful is a habit. You have to look and see and appreciate throughout the day, and set yourselves a reminder to be grateful, using grateful language. Melissa says, never be ashamed of something God got you through. I love it. You know, I heard it about 2 weeks ago and I can't remember who said it. So it's not, again, nothing original, just things that I've heard other people say that I really, really am just glom onto. So using grateful language as you're paying attention throughout the day, and you look around, just be thankful for things as you're going through the day. Because sometimes at the end of the day, it's hard to look back and say, what are 3 things I'm grateful for today? Especially if you're lying in bed and you're tired. You just want to go to sleep. I fall asleep every night praying, and you know, I ask my guardian angel to finish my prayers for me, because a lot of times at night you're just too tired. So, as Brendan said, we're striving for heaven. I have some sort of cough this morning. So, focusing throughout the day on those things you're grateful for. And make it a habit, using grateful language. I feel so blessed. I'm a giver. Such abundance. How beautiful. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Just getting in the habit of looking around us on a minute-by-minute basis and being grateful as the day goes on. So getting that into a daily habit gets you more positive. That leads me to step number 3, or tip number 3, or the habit number 3, using social media. Now, oftentimes, I want to stay off social media because I find it to be very negative. People will say things on social media behind the anonymity of a keyboard and a computer screen that they would never say to your face, one would hope. You know, like I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, when I said that emails I got when I announced that I had cancer and that I was using alternative therapy, I got so many nasty emails about how I was going to die, and you know, your children, you owe it to your children. Hey, Janet, good morning. She's on her way to doctor appointment. Stepped in to say hello, sending prayers. Thank you. Catch the rest on the replay. Thank you for your support, dear friend. Love you very much, Janet. You mean the world to me. I'm so happy that you're in my life. So using social media for positive, instead of hiding behind keyboards like some people do and send negative things. Using it for positive. Only giving compliments. For example, people ask in our private group, women will post a picture of themselves wearing an outfit and say, how do I look in this? Is this right? Is this right? So they'll post a series of pictures of different varieties of that outfit, with a different blouse, tucked in, not tucked in, belted, with a jacket, with a cardigan, you know, and women will go through and say what they like or what they prefer. And what we try to focus on in our group, and there's over 31, going on 3,200 women in this group, And it is, I think, the most positive, uplifting, and supportive group that you can find on Facebook. And if anybody is watching us and wants to comment in the comment section that's in our group, let them know. Yeah, that is a statue of our Blessed Mother back here. Is Madonna and child. She's holding the baby. So using that for good. But when people ask for, Brendan says, social media can be super unhealthy. It has its place, though. Let's use it for positive. Like I said, I've been contacted by a number of very big names in Facebook itself about the fact that this is such a positive and uplifting morning chat. They want to see more of it and they want to feature it. And that's why next week when we start, I won't get into that now. But using social media for good, because so many people use it for negative. Hey, Jory, thanks for dropping in, giving you the motivation for the day. And thanks for adding me to your group. Can't wait to check it out. So if you're on social media and somebody asks for an opinion, this is something I was taught a long time ago. It's called the Oreo cookie method, where you sandwich constructive criticism between two positives. So look for the positive. Again, it's like the habit of being grateful. Look for the positive. Beth's in our Dressing with Dignity group. It's inspiring. It helps me understand modest style and how to make it work in my life. Yay! And we just really are a very positive and supportive group of women. So if somebody asks for feedback, look for something positive, offer tactfully worded constructive criticism, and then end with something positive. So I love that color on you, just because we're talking about the group and I do image consulting and styling. I love this color on you. I think, have you tried a wrap blouse or, this type of thing? And by the way, your eyes really pop. So, sandwiching constructive criticism, because again, how many positives does it take to counteract one negative? 10 positives to counteract one negative. So try to be the person that brings those 10 positives into other people's lives. People like to be complimented. We're all looking for approval. We're all looking for a sense of affirmation. So be that person that brings it. Now, and Brendan's talking about Oreos because he's always the one that has chocolate covered almonds in the morning with his coffee. Pam says she's part of our group, frequently asks for help, and never felt disrespected or had your feelings hurt. Everyone's so positive and encouraging. We try to make our group the most positive and supportive group of women on Facebook, 3,200 women strong. And it's a great prayer warrior group, too. We have a prayer list every single solitary morning. The interesting thing is when we get new people in our group, they're used to being in other groups, and other groups tend to be very snarky and very straightforward and blunt. So when you can always tell somebody that's kind of new that maybe came from a different group because they're just like cannonballs with some of the things they say. And so it's teaching people too to learn the language of gratitude, learn the language of being a Christian, quite frankly, because we are supposed to be the beacons, right? So not always, like we were talking about yesterday about the lady in church that was a church lady giving criticism to somebody. So that's number 3, is using social media for positive, looking for compliment, looking to give compliments. Because you'll find the more you give others what you want, you get it in return. Like I was saying yesterday, the brain doesn't know the difference. The brain doesn't know the difference between what you're imagining and what you're thinking about and what's really happening. So when you give compliments to others, your brain thinks you're getting a compliment. So it releases the serotonin, the dopamine, the endorphins, there's another one, oxytocin, that comes from the 20-second hugs. Number 4 is kind of what I kind of branched over. Number 4 is paying it forward. Being thankful. So Pam says she's so thankful for the support and love in our group. It is a blessing. Thank you for starting it, Colleen. You're very welcome. Yeah, when we started, it wasn't quite sure if we were going to keep going. And there's a couple of times I almost shut it down. So paying it forward, giving somebody else something to be grateful for, hold the door for someone. Eye contact. It was funny because last week somebody said that, wow, I was going through the drive-thru, I think it was, and they were getting morning breakfast or whatever, and the gal gave her eye contact. Wow. How amazing. I have talked to cashiers before that they say most people are on their phones. They're working on their phones. Eye contact. They've thanked me for talking to them, for looking them in the eye. Have you ever been thanked before or been surprised when somebody gave you eye contact? Isn't that just kind of a human condition thing? Aren't we supposed to do that? So giving eye contact. So that's number 4. Pay it forward. Give somebody else something to be thankful for. Giving compliments. And number 5, keep a prayer journal. Keep a gratitude journal. There's something about handwriting. And I had a stroke about 10, 12 years ago. It wasn't lifestyle related. I had a tooth infection. My molar was infected. I didn't know about it. And I have a bad valve in my heart, so I had a heart infection. That went misdiagnosed. And they said I was too young to have, and then the vegetation that was growing on my heart valve flaked off and went to my brain, and I had a stroke. So I couldn't speak and I couldn't write and that kind of stuff. So ever since then I have a hard time. I have to go back and learn pretty much how to do my handwriting. So my handwriting looks horrible. But there's something very, very powerful about moving your hand and writing things down by hand that's more powerful than it is by typing it. But still, when you're typing out a journal, which is what I use Day One, if anybody's familiar with that one, and typing it out and writing it out. And I have a set list of questions that I ask myself every morning and every night in my journal. And I use like an abbreviator, so I can use Typinator, and it's like journal entry. So I do, stop JE, and it goes, broop, and it prints out all my questions. So every night I cut and paste the same questions, and I go through, and every morning I cut and paste my morning questions that I start the day off with when I journal in the morning. So one of those are, what are you grateful for? And like Solanus Casey's quote that I put up in the top in the show notes, be thankful ahead of time. Thank God ahead of time. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for the blessings you're going to be giving me this day. Thank you for the lessons that I will learn today. That's one of those things where you have to be careful if you're praying for humility, because God will send you practice. So if you want to thank for the blessings and thanks for the lessons ahead of time, be careful. Be careful what you thank for. St. Ambrose says, no duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. And then, of course, St. Teresa of Avila, who's one of my favorite saints. In all created things discern the providence and wisdom of God, and in all things give him thanks. So thanking God ahead of time. Let me see. Rex said, never been thanked for eye contact. You never have. Maybe you're not giving it up eye contact, Brandon, maybe. I don't know. Gracie says, it's important to let people know you see them and that they matter. Very, very true. I do an examination of conscience. Yeah, I try to do it at noon and then at the end of the day. Would love if you shared your journal list with us. I need a good guide for journaling. Sure, I'll put that in the show notes when I'm done. The questions I ask myself in the morning and the questions I ask myself at night. During lunch, I normally try to just stop and think about, what I've done in the morning, and how I could have done it better. Oops, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Apologizing right away is huge. And then letting things go and not letting them fester. Because sometimes when I do something that I feel bad about, it'll fester. And it's not good for your health, says the breast cancer lady, right? And the heart attack lady, to keep things stored up inside. There's a book I read years and years and years and years ago. I think it's over here, actually, on my bookshelf. Feelings buried alive never die. So those feelings that you're experiencing, you have to deal with them right away. Otherwise, they just fester and they cause problems and they cause health issues. So anyway, those are the 5 tips. How am I doing? 20 minutes. I'm supposed to get it down to 10. It's better than 30, but I'm trying to keep them shorter because, when I can do the analytics on YouTube, when I post this over on YouTube, and people are watching at an average of 10 minutes. And then they start fast forwarding through things. So Carrie, you're joining us late. We're just wrapping up. So these are the 5 habits of grateful people. Number 1, remember the bad times, because you can use them as a mirror to compare where you are now. And if now is one of the worst times in your life, know that God will get you through this. Ask for prayers, ask for help, and don't try to do it alone, because there's many things in life we can't do alone. We are social people. Sherry needs help with festering. After what we talked about last night, that Sherry's my sister. Me too. Number 2, pay attention throughout the day just using grateful language too. I'm so thankful. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. That's beautiful. Isn't that pretty? I'm great. Just to look and use the language of positive people and grateful people and get in that habit. Number 3, using social media for good, which is what I'm trying to do with these Facebook Lives every morning. 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. in London, midnight in Melbourne. And then number 4, pay it forward. Give other people something to be grateful for at the end of the day. Because what happens is your brain doesn't know the difference. When you're giving compliments, your brain thinks that you are receiving compliments. So helping other people, giving compliments, and you get the same benefits from that. And number 5, keep a journal. And I will post the questions in the comments section above on the questions that I ask myself in the morning and the questions I ask myself. Carrie, that's so funny though. You're sorry if you're late. So Sarah says, thanks for these chats. They're such a wonderful way to start the day. And Pam says she's learning to let things go. Sister-in-law encouraged me to put the negative feelings and thoughts into prayer for the person and situation. Yeah, even the feelings aren't there yet. God uses those prayers. You know, I learned a long time ago, feelings are neither right nor wrong. They simply are. So sometimes when you're praying for your enemies, right? I remember the one quote from the Bible that says, when you're praying for your enemies, it's like heaping hot coals on their head. Not very charitable, I know, but sometimes that's what I needed to get started to pray for people. And then once I started praying for them, I felt bad. So yeah, because you don't know what other people are going through. Some people, you know, there is evil in the world. I firmly believe that. But I also know that a lot of times when people are hurting, they lash out. And if you just so happen to be in their line of fire, you're the one that gets it. And you may not have been their target. Their target is the horrible thing they're going through, the bad day they're having, the car accident they were just in, or whatever. So just to stop and just say a prayer for everybody that you run across during the day, that's probably a good thing to do. So anyway, let's wrap things up because I want to keep, as requested by the gods of Facebook, I want to start trying to focus these down and keeping them at 10 minutes, especially since there's 5 of them a week. You know, nobody's got, you know, half an hour every day to sit and listen to this, although I do love this. All right, so those are the 5 habits of grateful people. I hope they helped you. If you thought that this was something that someone else can benefit by, please like, share, comment, and it will be posted on YouTube later on today. And you can always watch it there and like and comment from there, if you know, because I find it's easier to share a YouTube link than it is to share a Facebook link. So I post them over there as well. And also, as always, I appreciate your prayers. Your prayers are what get me through the difficult times that I'm going through as well. So thanks for joining us. Ann says that happened to her yesterday, and Barbara Ann says she listens while she's working. Well, that's good. Yeah, because I do that a lot. I'll listen to podcasts and that type of thing in the background while I'm working too. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for your prayers, and have a very blessed weekend. And Monday morning, if all goes as planned, I already have the outline done, we will start the self-confidence series. And those will be much shorter. I'm really going to focus on keeping those as 10 minutes because I really want something like that to be able to be shared out to other people, and people don't have a lot of time to sit and listen. So maybe what we'll do is like a chat, then I'll focus 10 minutes and then do a chat, and then I'll put the 10 minutes on YouTube and you can share that out. So have a glorious weekend. Please pray for me. Please pray for my mom because I don't know what's going on with her. She's could still be in the hospital. She could be home. I don't know. I haven't heard. So I thank you for that, and we'll see you Monday morning. Have a glorious weekend. Bye, my friends. Enjoy your coffee.